Welcome back, everyone. It's always great to see the usual suspects filing in for the daily live stream. And oh, wait a minute! Holy smoke, Batman! Is that a Holo-Pope? Hey, there's Littlefoot coming in. I wonder if she actually has little feet, or if like it's just a thing. But I swear, Jimmy Jeans, just when I was getting ready to go live here, just when I was getting ready to corral you out of the chat room again, I swear, dude, I swear, holy smoke, Jimmy, I think I seen a Holo-Pope.
I believe it.
You got me. I blame you for this. You sent me down a papal rabbit hole, my friend. Yes, indeed. But before we get going anywhere or everywhere, welcome back, everyone. Good to see you all again today. And we've got Sheila. We have got Sekhmet's secret weapon in there. Wow, that's a pretty cool name. We have got Sheila Ruth, deeply breathing. So much Jake, yes, indeed. Stan, Patrick, First Paranormal, who was first in the chat today. Your name is on the running board, sir. Yes, congratulations. And then, like I was saying, Jimmy has sent me down a little rabbit hole today. And when I go live on the Kev Baker show in just over an hour over on TFR Live, the Pope is going to feature in part of what I'm going to be getting into today on the show as well. But it's not the stuff that we're getting into right here, right now on this stream today. And there he is. He's back with me. Before we get into holy smoke, Batman, is that the Holo-Pope? Yes, as you can guess, Jimmy, I really love that title. But
that is good.
You were telling me, dude, you were telling me that you got a real kind of shock yesterday because you came to find out that the Kev Baker show presence, it reaches far and wide, sir, right? You know, because sometimes, you know, we might forget that so many people all around the world do listen in, and even when you think about that, you know, it doesn't really compute. But then little things will happen, like what happened to you, Jimmy. Tell the audience, man.
I know. So back in the day, probably about, well, let's just say
2,000 years ago.
Yeah, let's call it 86, just to give it a nice round number.
Would that be 19 or 18?
Yeah, 19.
Okay,
yeah,
okay, dude.
Yeah, not 18. Right. But the drummer in my band had a girlfriend by the name of Jamie. I don't want to throw her last name out. Jamie F. I'll just say that. And we're friends on Facebook and this and that. You know, we've been friends on Facebook for a few years. I haven't really talked to her. But so I get this message from her. She hasn't sent a message in over a year. I haven't spoken to her. I get this message yesterday and she goes, "Were you on the Kev Baker show?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
How dare you?
She goes, "I knew it was you." And I was like, man, the Kev Baker show has a reach that literally, I mean, you really are the quantum mechanic, dude. I mean, you spun me back like 86 or something. Somebody remembered me.
86 was a good year, dude. 86. I turned 10 years old that year. I do remember that year. 86, 88, that was another good year as well. 86, I think that was the Mexico World Cup. You see, I kind of gauge things when I was younger, really into football. So if you're in Europe, you usually gauge 4-year periods by where the World Cup was, Jimmy. But yeah, you know, to go back to the 80s right now, you know, it was less technology, less connected, but a whole lot simpler.
Well, I know. I know. I go down memory lane quite a bit. I listen to a lot of 80s music. Go back down memory lane. It was, I mean, back then, and you literally, I mean, I kid you not, you could literally drive around with a can of beer. Like when we were in high school, we used to be driving around 65 Mustangs that we bought for $300 all over town, swilling beer. You get pulled over, the cop just pour it out. Get out of here, Don't let me see you again, kid, before we get you in trouble. Or
You
whatever, you know what I mean?
pesky kids. You pesky kids. But back in the 80s, possibly wouldn't have been the technology around for what we're about to get into in a moment. And I dare say there wasn't too many occasions for people to pause and go, holy smoke, Batman, was that the Holo-Pope? But nowadays...
I'm going to spit out my coffee.
I need like a bam, pew, pew, kind of sound effects coming up on the screen for the old Batman thing, But Jimmy, you were telling me about the Pope blinking in and out of existence, right?
Yeah, I mean, I noticed this thing about the Pope blinking in and out, and then I saw this tweeted video of him where he comes out and he out the window, and then he starts to turn from the window and he just disappears. I just thought it was weird, man. I mean,
now when you told me, I thought to myself, oh dear Lord, poor Jimmy, there he is again when I'm not talking to him. He's got far too much time on his hands. He's found himself in yet another corner of above top secret or somewhere. And I thought nothing else of it, right? And then today,
right.
I start to do my own little do, as you do, looking for stories to cover. Bear in mind, I've got to think of something for the main show, and then something different for this show. But today they kind of link together, so that's kind of cool. And went to Mysterious Universe, as I often do, Jimmy. As I often do. Some people will say far too often. But this is where it started to get weird for me, right? Because I'd forgotten about you mentioning the Pope doing his mad blinking in and out of existence thing, the holy smoke kind of Pope thing going on, right?
Yeah.
And then, my good friend, check this out, because this is the first story. The very first story. Now, bear in mind, you people know me well enough to know that when Kev Baker starts the deep dive for a show, first port of call, it's not the main news of the day on the big mainstream media sites. No, it's the Mysterious Universe. And you want to see what I was met with? Boom. That thing going on right now, and a possible Pope Francis hologram, and Project Bluebeam. Jimmy, I sat there, I just kind of threw myself back like this and thought, wow. Because before we even get into it, tomorrow, I'm going to be having a very special broadcast. I'm really excited about this because at 9:30 in the UK, 4:30 on the East Coast, 1:30 on the West Coast, I'm going to be joined by the quantum businessman. The quantum businessman meets the quantum mechanic for the second time. And we're going to be discussing the holographic nature of reality, more specifically the human consciousness grid. And then immediately after we finish talking, we're all going to jump over to Chris's channel, the Quantum Businessman, and we're going to see the latest episode that he's put together, Jimmy. And then if that wasn't enough, we're going to come back over here onto KBS, and we're going to talk about what we just watched.
Nice.
So, really looking forward to that. But the whole holographic thing, again, here it is this week. Seems to be turning into a week where we're going holographic. I wonder, Jimmy, if this is the start of a new trend. You know how the KBS kind of crew always ends up falling into something, some genre or another, and it links into another. Before you know it, all comes back round full circle and we're making connections we've never seen before, right? It feels like holographic is the new thing.
I think so. And it just dawned on me too, is that there was this whole, a while back, there was this whole rumor going around that he had some sickness, right? And then there was also rumor that somebody saw white smoke come up, signifying that the Pope was dead. And then pretty soon that went away really quickly. All the rumor about the white smoke. Oh no, it wasn't white smoke. But this might make sense, man, because
It might. It might. It really might. Now then, here we go. I'm going to read a bit of this out. And it says, so Jimmy, you now have time to go and entertain your friends in the chat room. Like I know he does. Like look at him. Look, he's laughing. Like he knows. He knows. So I'll give you 5 minutes, dude. You can go and play with the cougars in the chat room. And I'll come and get you from the cougar enclosure when I finish this bit up, okay? So it says, this past weekend, Pope Francis held Easter services in Rome to a handful of people in person, but billions watched online. Or did they? He later gave blessings to an empty St. Peter's Square, but was seen by millions or billions online. Or was he? There have been the persistent rumours that the Pope is ill, possibly due to everything going on in Italy right now. How well? Well, at the other end of the spectrum, there have been rumours that he's so ill, the person billions think they were watching online was actually, get ready, the Holo-Pope. Okay, they don't call it a Holo-Pope, I call it a Holo-Pope, but hologram, and Anne's loving the Holo-Pope. I'm telling you, man. Holo-Pope on a rope. It says, is this and that thing going on around the world right now the manifestation of Project Bluebeam? The dots are big and waiting to be connected. Now, Jimmy, let me pause right there. Project Bluebeam, my friend, initial thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's, you know, it's been brought up before.
Do you think it's real? Do you think it's real?
Savior? Project Bluebeam?
Yeah, because, I mean, it came from like an unnamed NASA source via a Canadian alternative researcher. And there's no, I mean, there's nothing to really, I mean, you can't go and find the actual documents, you know?
Well, I mean, you don't have to go that far out on a limb for Project Bluebeam. You can just say deepfake, couldn't you? I mean,
You
if
could,
it's video.
yeah. Do you think
If it's
that?
vi-
Do you think they do have a plan like that in place? Maybe someday.
I think maybe they could. I mean, I don't see why.
Oh,
it's not.
easily could. I mean, let's face it. Like you said there, if it's via television, bang, dude, you could watch anything and it'd be very believable. You know, they could have me and you doing an entirely different show, sitting giving commentary to circus animals, and people
There you
would say,
go.
"What happened to Kevin and Jimmy?" They used to talk about the Holo-Pope and things like that, but now they just entertain people in this fake big top of theirs. So I'm definitely up for that. But do you think somewhere in the old alphabet agency's filing cabinet, one of the scenarios to bring it all together, to get us to that world government thing, is to project things in the sky, give us voices in our head? Do you think they'll go for that? Do you think it's an option?
At this point, I don't think we don't even need ships in the sky. I mean, we've got a unifying event we've got an alien that's attacking our bodies right now, and it's an event that all humanity can come together and fight the alien that's invading our bodies.
Yes, indeed. And you know, that what does make me wonder then, Jimmy, with everything going on in the world right now. What do they say, roughly ballpark billion Catholics? I mean, if something was to happen to the head of the Catholic Church right now, I mean, whoa, that'd be pretty heavy, right? Especially at a
Right.
time when he's very instrumental in really bringing things together and being all kind of new agey Pope Francis or whatever. Yeah, that's his name. Isn't it? I don't even know the guy's name.
Well, the dude, I mean, honestly, the Pope, he doesn't have enough charisma to be the Antichrist.
He's got a nice car though.
He's got a nice car,
I mean,
but
look
I
at
mean,
that. It's got a
in
cracking
order to be-
sunroof.
in order to be, you know, the Antichrist or whatever, I mean, you're gonna have to have some charisma. You're gonna have to come on camera and just have everybody fall in love with everything that you
Not
say.
slapping Chinese people.
Yeah, right. No Pope slapping.
Yeah, no Pope slapping. No. See, no chance of the Holo-Pope doing that because they just won't program that into it, you know? Now, you know, the Holo-Pope might have been possessed if the Holo-Pope starts acting up and doing things they never told it to do, you know?
Well, you could take crisis actors to the next level and start green screening them and putting them in some of those suits. So when the Pope goes, it looks like they went, You know what I mean?
Damn, dude. Damn. You got it all going on there. So the rumours that Pope Francis having some kind of mystery ailment, like Jimmy stated, all started back early in March. And as a result of his status as leader of the Roman Catholic Church, and the fact that that thing right now that's affecting people was running rampant through Italy, the Pope was tested and the results were negative. Now, as usual, the Vatican, details beyond that were scarce, and the Pope's reduction in appearances, his constant nose wiping, and weak demeanour were attributed to a mild cold and the advanced age of 83. Now, the Vatican confirmed on March 24th that the Italian Vatican official who lives in the Pope's residence had tested positive and required hospitalization. Now, Jimmy, you're living in the same residence as somebody, you get sick enough to the point where you require hospitalized. Now, unless the both of them were sitting in totally isolated rooms and full body condoms and breathing apparatus, you would have to imagine there's a chance. Even the Pope has to touch surfaces at some point, right? He doesn't float, you know? Maybe he does. Maybe he just floats around the house.
He could, man. Maybe he just sits there.
He just floats about the Vatican, like scaring people and that. You get there as a new kind of one of the new cardinals, and somebody pulls you aside, like, "Here, listen, don't like say anything, but you're not to act weirded out when you see like the Pope just floating about trying to scare people at night. Just act like he's scared you. It's what he does."
It's like that movie Big Trouble in Little China. They had this dude that he just stands there and floats around. He's like this. It's like this Chinese black magician guy.
See, I'd have one of them if I ran a country. I'd have something like the Big Trouble Little China thing going on, man. You know, I'm just saying. So it said here, as a result, the Vatican was testing everyone working there, including giving the Pope another test, also negative, and sticking with the commitment to have no public services on Easter. Now that's pretty late in the crisis to test people, especially in Italy. And was the Vatican trying to hide something again? Quote, "I just made this burner account to post this. I filmed this on my local news network and I wanted everyone just to see what I saw and potentially provide an explanation." So we can go over here and we can watch what Jimmy watched. Here we go then, folks. Jimmy, is this the video you watched, brother? Okay, we'll play it anyway. I think it might be.
Yeah,
Let's
hang on a
watch it.
second. Sorry about that.
Oh, he does. He absolutely blinks out of existence.
He does, man.
Whoa. Okay. Now, let's just ignore all these silly tags at this, unfortunately. Silly person has added to what was a pretty decent clip. How that's got anything to do with that particular line of BS is absolutely beyond me. However, you know, it goes on to say here, on Twitter 13th, Twitter user Bernie on the Bus posted a video from WWMT, a CBS CW station in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Is that how you say that, Jimmy? Kalamazoo.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Oh, I like it, dude. That's the kind of place I would live. Kalamazoo. Is it full of animals?
Yeah, you don't want to live in Kalamazoo.
Yeah. Okay, then. Of Pope Francis in the window above St. Peter's Square, waving to what should be no one, and then turning and walking back in, except before he disappeared by walking out of camera range, the image of the Pope vanishes abruptly. Now, Bernie on the Bus says that he thinks it's proof. What was broadcast was a holographic image of the Pope. They did all the right things, slowed it down, found a head-on shot, read the comments that it was fake and the Pepper's ghost effect, and stuck to his original assessment. Looks pretty holographic to me. So the Pepper's ghost effect is an old museum park haunted house trick using a flat screen of glass or perspex plexiglass to reflect a ghostly image so that it appears to float in front of a normal background. Although invented by John Henry Pepper in 1862, it's still fooling people today. It was used to create a hologram of Tupac Shakur at the 2012 Coachella Music and Arts Festival and Michael Jackson at the 2014 Billboard Music Awards. Now, if the image reaches the edge of the glass, it could disappear abruptly like the Pope in the video. And the YouTube channel, To the Lifeboats, did an expanded analysis and admits this is very, very strange. The website Solask looks at both, considering that it could be a hoax, and then adds the next dot to the hologram theory. So it says the only weak point of this theory is the use of a hologram, since it would be much easier to make a double and send it to the window to wave the handle. Now, however, we don't know the Vatican's rules in this regard. It is possible, and most likely, that there are some prohibitions on such tricks, which were written down in medieval texts. Yeah, I'm sure in medieval times they were going, when you're doing a world address and it's been beamed around on the internet, make sure you do the hologram correctly. So saith the Vatican. It might go like that, maybe. Jimmy, do you think that text exists?
Well, it's like, no, you're forbidden to use doubles, but holograms are going to be okay.
Deep fake, dude. Why wouldn't you deep fake it, man? All you got to do is have him once walk into the window. And I mean, let's face it, Jimmy, right? You could take him walking to the window last bloody month. Who would notice the difference? How many differences is there to coming out and waving and walking away again in your big fancy white dress?
Well, it's interesting to see these events happening with no audience, imagine basketball games, football games, baseball games, any sports events that happen without people in the stands. It's like it didn't even happen. I mean, it might as well be deep fake. It might as well be a video game.
This analysis by the YouTuber or by Solask that says, therefore, the Vatican had no choice but to use Bluebeam or something like that. You can see them all, right? They're all sitting there really puzzled, right? They are not the worst thing in the world's happened to the Pope. They're trying to think, oh no, how do we get around this? How do we delay the announcement of this? And one of the cardinals is sitting there going, hey, listen, don't worry about the medieval texts, guys. I have got the perfect plan. He took them over. He pulled out David Icke's book. He opened up the page, Project Blue Book, laid it all out. Any questions? And all of them were happy, man. They went back to doing whatever they do in Vatican City. Wow, that was like an almost, holy smoke, is that the Holo-Pope outside Jimmy's? Dude. So anyway, on a more serious note, it says that Bluebeam is the infamous Project Bluebeam, a conspiracy theory created by Serge Monast in 1994, in which NASA and the United Nations join forces to implement a new age religion with the Antichrist at its head and start a new world order, using giant holograms to scare humanity into a state of acquiescence. They've done that with an invisible enemy. I'm just saying, the current world situation has many elements that can be twisted to connect the dots. The belief that by many that this has been used as a hoax, the presidency of the Trumpster, the weakening or elimination of the Holo-Pope to facilitate the new religion, and now the alleged holograph of that Pope. Was it the test of the technology, they ask? Then again, it could all be the product of fertile imaginations, and there's nothing wrong with that. KBS adds to the mix. Like that of Gene Roddenberry, whose unmade Star Trek movie and Star Trek The Next Generation episode Devil's Due had similar plots long before, monasts theory surfaced. So, from the writer's perspective, as somebody who likes to connect the dots, this one unfortunately starts with a very tiny and blurry one. A video of that Pope that looks much more like a glitch or an editing cut by a newscast than a hologram. Meanwhile, old Pope, he's kicking back, and he showed up on a video the following day. Or did he, Jimmy? How could you take that? Might be a deep fake. For his daily mass service and looked real. Old, frail, and weary of what's going on in the world. But very, very real, James. So what do you say, Jimmy? What say, Jimmith? Jimothy.
Well, all I know is if you're gonna get the Pope out there in a hologram, can you give him some personality? I mean, he's not very motivating, and the stuff he says it's never good.
No, he's weird. He's kind of strange. I mean, the other day, I'll pull up the headline here. I'm not going to get deeply into it, but just to show the kind of stuff that he's been doing lately, a bit weird, a bit out there. You know, the Pope, pretty much his job title is like Vicar of Christ. He's like the janitor, right? Christ and God, they're all the same thing. They left him here to look after the flock and all the rest of it, right? What's he going to do? He drops that title. No. I ain't that dude anymore. and then on the back of that, when they said, "Hey, dude, you want to wind that back?" He said, "No, I'm doubling down." Doubling down? What are you doing, Pope? I'm going all in, and I'm calling Judas a good guy. You know, he's one of the good dudes. Is he maybe going a bit mad as opposed to?
Did you ever see the movie Last Temptation of Christ?
No, I haven't. No.
So in that movie, Christ asked Judas to betray him, so that
it was a false flag.
Exactly. Judas was really on Christ's side, and in the movie Last Temptation of Christ, he comes down off the cross and he lives a normal life as a normal man. He has children, he has a wife, all this. Right when he's getting ready to die, he's all messed up. He's laying there. Judas comes back and he says, "Why'd you betray me, man?" He said, "You had me turn you in. You were going to be the Messiah. You were going to be the Savior. You're going to save humanity. Why did you come down? Why did you come down?" And it's because he got tempted down off the cross by this little angel. And he points to her, and then Judas goes, "That's Satan."
Just like that, Jimmy. Just like that.
Just like that.
I tell you what, though, right? We're living in a world now, though, Jimmy, right? Where I know they don't physically have like some way of knowing just how Christ looked, right? But I mean, with technology and deep fake and everything else, right? Realistically, you could have a movie with all of the dead popes up until this one. You could have Jesus in it. You know, this whole deep fake and holographic technology and everything else. I mean, away from the Pope, but still, you know, your A-list celebrities and people like that. I mean, they're actually getting new laws and things written and putting in their will and stuff, ain't they, Jimmy? That they're not to be used like for eternity. They're not to be used as some kind of cash cow. You know, just some avatar that they throw into movies here, there, and everywhere. You know, it's going to get a bit cluttered in Hollywood very soon when all the dead stars start making a comeback in their virtual movies.
Well, I think that's right on time that you're bringing that up, because seriously, that is a big consideration with celebrities in the future, because not only they don't want to allow that to happen willy-nilly, but they're going to make sure that when it does happen, they get paid for it.
Image rights, posthumous, you know.
Yeah, and you know, you're going to have these stars like, hey, you know what's like to be Brad Pitt for a day. You know, he'll just wear something and walk around, you know, being himself, going here, getting his coffee, you know, going down to Starbucks or whatever, you know, hanging out with Jennifer Aniston or whatever. And then you'll be able to buy that for like $19.95 for a VR, you know, and you'll be able to be Brad Pitt for a day if you want. You know, see what it's like to live. You know, I'm just saying, and I'm sure it wouldn't be a boring day that day. I'm sure he'd make sure
you need. Are you busy after this stream, Jimmy? Are you busy?
No.
You should hang with me on the main show, because you're gonna love what I'm gonna get into today. You've got no idea what I'm gonna get into.
No.
But it does involve the Pope. but it's something far bigger, folks. It's something
Sweet.
far bigger, and it's something that surely could affect us all. So you will be tuning in to the Kev Baker Show today, right after this. But, dude, that's not the end of it with the Pope, right? I found another crazy story about the Pope today.
Well, hang on a second, because I wanted to tell you, because I didn't
Yeah.
finish. I didn't finish telling you. So when when Jesus says, and he points to the thing, and Judas says, "That's Satan." Then Jesus all of a sudden comes to this realization. He can't even walk. He crawls outside, and he reaches up and he says, "Father, forgive me. I didn't want to be the Messiah. I didn't want to be the Savior. I'm sorry. Please take me back, Father. Please take me back." And in that moment, he is flashed right back up on that cross, dude. And he's still. So he lived like a whole life in a millisecond.
Oh, he done like a 20 and back, like the...
Big time.
Wow, dude. Quantum.
It's a good movie. Last Temptation of Christ. It was super controversial.
Yeah, I remember all the controversy around it. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like that time slip, that weird, like how that could happen. Like this could be it right now. We could all be dreaming. We just wake up. All this stuff's been going on. We could just disappear. You know what I mean? It's strange. Time slips.
Time slips are strange. Time itself is strange. And time is marching on. It always marches on. That's one thing about time. It consistently goes forward. But from time to time, we're able to go backwards, forwards, outside of time in our minds. How many times you've been asleep maybe on the chair for what feels like hours? And you jump up and maybe it's only been a matter of minutes. Yet you were dreaming things that felt like hours in there, Jimmy. How does that work? Very, very strange. And maybe I have the answer. Maybe I have the answer because it's back to the Pope. Holy smoke, Batman. It's that Holo-Pope again. Yeah, he's back. Check this out. And he gets definitely honorary. In fact, I might give him a pass for the rest of the day. Oh, no, that's right. I can't. He's coming up in my next show. Check it out. Pope Francis said that whiskey is the real holy water. I tell you, man, he just resonated with every Scotsman and Scotswoman out there. So it says here, a clip of Pope Francis holding Scotch whiskey. We don't call it Scotch whiskey, we call it whiskey. Saying it is the real holy water was censored ahead of a new documentary about Scottish seminaries in Rome. The clip showed the Pope accept a bottle of Oban malt. Now, my stepfather is going to be delighted if he hears that. He comes from sunny Oban on the west coast. It makes it sound so much more delightful than it is. It's an absolute hole on the earth, Jimmy. But it says here from some Scottish student priests at an event at the Apostolic Palace last year. Vatican media said the quip should be cut from the film before it could be broadcast this weekend. And director Tony Kearney, who made the 1-hour documentary Priest School for the BBC. It's not like the BBC to go censoring things out of stuff. Man, come on. With his company Soulless Productions. Very solar. And they said that they'd filmed the Pope meeting with the students during the 18-month project. Oh, imagine the outtakes and what ended up on the director's floor. Oh, dear me. Kearney said the Pope was... What?
Maybe they are trying to give the Pope a personality, man. He's drinking whiskeys.
Dude, they should have left that quote in about him saying that's the real holy water. He would have won 6 million Scots people instantly. Well, he wouldn't have. You see, unbeknown to you and most of the world's population, like, the Pope literally divides a place like Glasgow right down the middle.
Yeah.
Jimmy. Yeah. You know, you've seen holy war and stuff over in the Middle East and things like that. We've taken sectarianism to a whole new level where we even have our own football teams. So it's really cool the way we've gone about our kind of jihad over here. You know, we've made it quite civilized. We've got 2 football teams and both those tribes go to war pretty much 4 times a year or any time they play. It's a whole new level of religious kind of differences we have in Glasgow, Jimmy. You can walk into the wrong area of Glasgow with the wrong clothes on and
Mhm.
literally not be coming back out that other side of that housing estate. Not
It's like
good.
that. It's like that in L.A. too, except for it has nothing to do with religion.
Yeah, you see, you find why is it we always find these ways to divide ourselves and keep each other separated when we've obviously got so much in common? Oh, I don't know, like a species and a set of chromosomes and DNA and things. I don't know.
I mean, some of these wars have been going on for on and on and on, man. You know, these people have been fighting these same battles over and over
I think
again.
moving into the technological age, we could just make it like Robo Wars or something on the TV. It could just be like
I
esports.
used, I used to love that show, man, where just regular people build their own robots
Some
and
of them
then
were,
fight.
dude, I know, some of them were savage, man. Absolutely
I
savage.
used to love watching that, man.
We ended up having a show over here. I don't think it lasted too long, but you imagine the robo cars, yeah, kind of safe. I mean, it's remote controlled. No, we scaled it up to people pimping out like old cars with mad hammers and things on them.
Uh,
No, not good, Jimmy, not good. It was hilarious to watch. I watched one episode of it, but I tell you, man, how somebody never got hurt making that, I'll never know. But folks,
well, that show infatuated me about robots. I mean, it made me consider getting into it because for a period of time I was sending out resumes here in the Silicon Valley to different robotics companies. I was trying to get jobs, you know, going to work as an engineering tech to go work on some of the stuff, you know. So maybe that'll pan out after this situation ends, Kev, and you know,
maybe
maybe I'll.
we'll be talking about a little bit of technology,
Sweet.
a lot about surveillance and how that is going to play possibly a very lucrative role in our lives moving forward into this brave new world. And whether the Pope's real or whether he really is that Holo-Pope, I don't know. But I tell you what, the technology's there to do it. I can see why they may have decided to do that at a time when Italy is already, you know, on its knees with everything going on. You know, forget the rest of the world. Imagine the effect that it would have on Italy alone with everything that's going on and the losses suffered over there right now. News of that, news of something bad happening to the Pope. Oh, you better believe they might want to delay it. Now, I've got no reason to.
Definitely.
I mean, apart from what we've read today, you know, you can make your own mind up. I don't know. It's an interesting clip. I'll give you that. We'll watch it one more time, Jimmy, and then we'll start to wrap up. But I'll bring it up over here. There we go. Watch it again. There he goes. You ready? It shouldn't do that. It really shouldn't do that. But if somebody altered it, that's the question, you know?
Even, I mean, just bringing it up as an idea, even if that's
Yeah,
even
it's
if
a
that's
good,
not,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Even if that's not the case,
the
but
concept of
bring
it.
right, because how many times did people see weird glitches in some of these presidential addresses where, you know, they're probably not in the Oval Office, you know, they're someplace else, you know, but
We're at a point, Jimmy, where literally you could run an entirely fictitious character, completely generated by CGI, everything else. You could probably create a good enough paper trail online for people to
mhm.
dig into, leave enough kind of mysteries in the timeline that you leave as well to bog people down. So they'll focus on that. Oh, look, it says here he was there, but he was meant to be here. People focus on that, and all the time it takes their attention away from the fact the person doesn't exist at all. You know, just
Well,
some talking virtual head on there. You know.
if I was the general manager of the Illuminati, what I would do is I would create my Antichrist character completely digital, just like you're saying. But I would pan across the expanse of the internet, and I would create this character to be exactly the most tantalizing, seductive character that could be created. And for every single person that looked at that, I would have them see the exact most attractive, beautiful person that they could imagine.
AOC's gonna come up on my PC.
every time that's right.
Damn, dude.
See, I mean, see
Where'd I
everything.
take the chip, Jimmy? Where'd I take that chip? I'm only joking, folks. I'm not taking the chip.
It's not going to be a chip anyway. Don't worry about it.
No, it's okay. We've got some news on that when we go live on the show. What it will be won't be a chip, but it's nice. Very hey, very woke. There's a woke way to get back to life, folks. There's a woke way to go. And Jimmy, it's been much fun as usual. Nice quick one today.
Yeah.
I think that the Holo-Pope, like you say, good concept to have a conversation about. And when we do come back very shortly over on tfrlive.com, the Pope is in there. But it ties in more with what's going on all over the world. But looking forward, we keep talking about how it's never going to be the same again. Well, how's it going to look? Well, I've got one way it's going to look for whoever wants to take it. But I tell you what, folks, you think you've seen Big Brother? And I mean that in the sense of the novel and the TV show. You have seen nothing, and I swear to you, you've seen nothing yet. I'm going to be talking about that when I come back on the radio today. I hope you all join me. Remember, go to tfrlive.com/chat. But there's also a YouTube version. We've got the YouTube TFR live stream. I see a lot of the usual faces in there as well. I try and keep both chat rooms open. Jimmy loves the cougar enclosure in both chat rooms, and you know how he loves to interact with the chat. Jimmy thought I was telling him off today before the show. I'm like, come on now, Jimmy, you need to like kind of find that balance between the chat and the stream. And but you get it now, dude. You see, you've been present today, man. We've had a good laugh.
Yeah, I'm always present, man.
It's because you're a people person, dude. I know. I try and censor your people skills. I know I'm bad.
Hey, listen, if me and you owned a bar and you were behind the bar pouring drinks, I would be out here in the crowd walking around talking to people.
You'd be the meter and greeter. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do, man.
Yeah, I like it, dude. I like it. Hey, did I complain? It's good. It's great. And
Dude, I used to work at this coffee house, man, in Los Angeles. It's called Young Moguls. It was 25,000 square feet of a coffee house. And at night, I was the doorman. And at night, I would block off the front of the club. I'd put these cones and shit out there. And every time nice cars would come down, I'd wave them in, and I'd let them park right out in front of the coffee house. So it'd be just all these beautiful motorcycles. Oh man, I had line all the way out the door, bro, to get in there. People just saw those cars out front, and that's what the Kev Baker show is. It's just like that, man.
It's like Algo said last night, it's where we come together and where we stick together. Yes, indeed. Big shout out to Rick. Just seen you jumping into the chat room there. I see Leslie as well. Much love to you and your family, Leslie. Yes, indeedy. So we're about ready to move on, I think. I did have something to say there, and I blooming well forgot about it. Now, yeah, we will be starting to stream eventually over on the backup channel. So remember to check out Kev Baker Show 2. We've even got memberships on there, but I like it here on the main channel. It's our home. And Jimmy, talking of main channels in your home, let people know where they find you.
Yeah, it's in the microcosm with Jimmy Jean. I'm pretty sure it's w/Jimmy Jean. I have 2 channels. If you don't see any activity, you're on the wrong one. But tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to be there. I think we're going to be doing something about plane crashes, helicopter crashes, and car crashes. The people that Dead Man's Party tonight.
Nice. And yeah, we're going to be getting into some really kind of
Paul. He died in a car crash.
Kind of weird looking forward stuff into what the world's going to look like, and just how some of us may adapt, improvise, and overcome. It ain't for me, but what I'm going to show you when we come back live. Dang, dudes. Mind-blowing. Talk about a dystopic future, only it's right here. It's right now, and it's all around us. So, James, it's been absolutely fantastic to hang with you on today's stream.
Yeah, and it's going to be coffee time. I'm going to go make some super strong coffee and get ready for
Good
the Kev
man.
Baker show.
Don't forget, folks, tomorrow, special broadcast. I won't be on the radio tomorrow. I'm going to be doing this on YouTube with Chris. So it's 4:30. The link's already on the channel. Go and check there. 4:30 on the East Coast, 1:30 on the West Coast. That's 9:30 over here in the UK. So I hope to see you all here for that. And we're going to get all into the holographic nature of reality and drilling down into the human consciousness grid. I can't wait to get into that. The quantum mechanic meets the quantum businessman. Oh, dang. Get ready for some quantum shenanigans. Will it be coherent? Will it be discoherent? Oh, you better believe it'll be coherent. And it'll be here, live, tomorrow. So I'll see you all then. And I'll see you all soon over on the main show. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo.
How dare you?
Oh, yeah. Go on, Jimmy. Say goodbye to your audience, Jimmy. Holy smoke, Batman. Is that Holo, Jimmy? Look, you just blinked out of existence, man.